Okay, Bridge students, in the first video in this series, we made a scatter plot having to do with the effectiveness of Jack's shampoo for having a good hair day or a bad hair day. And we found out that there was a negative association. In the second video, we did a bunch of work to discover that the equation at the line of best fit through that scatter plot, the trend line, is going to be y equals negative 2/5 x plus 13. The question that we have in front of us still left to do is to make a prediction based on this equation. And at the end, I also want to introduce two terms. They're called extrapolation and interpolation. So here we go. Let's say that we want to know if we use Jack's shampoo for, let's say, 21 days. What's the rating going to be? How do we think, what's the rating on having a good hair day would be, the likelihood? So all we have to do here is plug the number into the equation. So, and actually let's instead, I'm just looking at this equation here, and I'm going to kind of, since it doesn't really matter terribly, I want to make the numbers easy for you guys. Let's make this 25 days. That's going to make it easier for us. So we're going to say y equals negative 2/5, and here for x, we're going to have 25 days, and so it's times 25 plus 13. All right, so y here is going to be negative 2 times 25 is negative 50, divided by 5 still, plus 13, which gives us y equals negative 10 plus 13, so y equals 3. That would give us a point 25 for the x and 3 for the y, which if we go back and look actually on our graph, amazingly, you'll see that at point, the x coordinate for 25, that we are at 3 on the y. Kind of cool. So these equations for the lines of best fit are very powerful in terms of making predictions. Okay, so that's that goal. I do want to just briefly introduce two terms, and they're called interpolation and extrapolation. I'm going to write them down. Actually, let's see here. There we go. Use a different color. Interpolation and extrapolation. These come up in your lesson. And all this really means is that you're interpolating if you're using an x value that's within the realm of the x values that you've been given in your experiment. So here we have x values, like our smallest x value was 10, looks like here. Yeah. It's connected to this point, and our greatest x value was 30. So in this diagram, an interpolation would be between the values we have, between 10 and 30 days. All right, for extrapolation, let's go back up here. We'll see that we don't actually have any data points in this section of the graph. We're kind of making it up, right? You'll remember in the last video that I drew in this line in the kind of the bold black color here, and that means that we can use the trend line to make a prediction, but we have to be a little bit more careful. Like, for instance, if we used Jack's shampoo for only 3 days, oops, 3 days, that'd be extrapolation, because we don't have any data points really from our study of people who use the shampoo product for only 3 days in a month, which is not enough to shampoo your hair. But that is a whole different question. I hope you enjoyed this series of videos.